Niggas need a spot where we can kick it, a spot where we belong, that's just for us. Niggas ain't gotta get all dressed up and be Hollywood. You know what I mean? Where do niggas go when we die? Ain't no heaven for a thug nigga. That's why we go to Thug Mansion. That's the only place where thugs getting free and you gotta be a G.
DJ sure to die.
Was it the liquor that makes me act blind? Times that I'm with her. Anonymous pictures of other niggas trying to kiss her. Will I love her or shall I diss her? I'm sick of this scandalous shit.
Hello guys, JK Fitness 151 here again. And yeah, today has been a very busy day. Got this video, I've got 22 press-ups to do, which is in day 9 actually as it happens. Then I've got a post about hydration and water to do, as well as my own exercises as well. So yeah, today is going to be absolutely mad. It's going to be pandemonium today. However, that's the way I like it, you know, it's better than being boring. So, today's video is all about caffeine. So the first bit about caffeine, right, is what is it? What is caffeine? Well, caffeine is actually known as a drug that stimulates your central nervous system. So that's basically your spine and your brain. So it basically stimulates them, and they are one of the biggest components in your body because they basically help you to move. They basically give you the sensors and the stimulants to actually do that. And what this caffeine does is it essentially just stimulates that brain. So what exactly is the purpose of caffeine? Because it's one of the funny ones, you know, what exactly is the reason why we have caffeine? You know, come on, what is the reason? Well, the reason we have caffeine is because it makes you more alert, and it also makes you feel less drowsy. So essentially it's like a pick-me-up. Which makes sense, because if you have had a lot of caffeine before, you'll understand that it's literally like, it's just like that, you know. It is quite a good thing to have in the morning. But however, it is known to be combined with things such as pain relievers. It can even treat migraine as well, which is essentially why they're in stuff like paracetamol's caffeine. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that, did you? Well, you do now. And they also help with things such as headaches, migraines, and essentially all they do is they can treat other conditions actually as it happens. They can treat conditions for newborn babies as well, which is helping their breathing. Which yeah, so caffeine is good as it can be bad, and you know vice versa. So it depends on if you're on the fence with it. If you like caffeine, excellent. I'm also going to be going on about caffeine sensitivity and stuff like that, and other things that you did not know about caffeine. So yeah, it's all about caffeine today. So yeah, take that how you will. Okay, so caffeine is found naturally in coffee, tea, and even chocolate too. It can be found in chocolate too, and most Cokes like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, you know all the fizzy things, you know, like Mountain Dew for example. You know, actually I don't think it's in Mountain Dew. I'm not 100% sure. It might be in Mountain Dew. Who knows? That's something I would learn if I find out. So, yeah, it's also in say, tablets and capsules. I think we bought without a prescription type of thing, you know. And also, caffeine can cause problems for people if you have too much, which, as you can imagine, so you know, why would you want to have too much? Well, some people don't really know that they're having too much. This can lead to things such as allergies, allergies to foods, pregnancies as well. It can pass from a pregnant woman, pregnancy caffeine pregnancies. It can cause birth defects if you have too much of it, believe it or not. Yeah, so that's one thing. What you want to sort of, if you're pregnant, you want to sort of you know, take a little step back from, you know. If you don't drink it, fair enough, that's fair, that's excellent, but look out for things that do contain caffeine. Obviously your GP will probably speak to you about this. I would imagine your GP would speak to you about that. Or you could just ask them, essentially. But how much should you be having if that's the case? If it's causing things like birth defects and pregnancy if you have too much, what is the limit? You know, what is the limit to it? So the limit is between from the age of 12 onwards, it is between 100 to 200 milligrams per 3 to 4 hours. And if you put that into perspective, the amount of drinks that have that in, and that have caffeine in, and the levels, I've got a brilliant chart that will be, it'll be somewhere around here right now. That will tell you exactly how much is in what, and obviously how to limit that. So it's what between 100 to 200 milligrams, right? That's your daily limit. So that's the equivalent to like 2 cups of coffee, I would imagine. The chart, I'm not 100% revised with the chart, but I do know that one of them at the end has got 95 milligrams per cup, and I'm sure it is brewed coffee. It's either brewed coffee or filtered coffee. It's got the most caffeine per cup. So yeah, you want to be careful with that. Very, very careful. Even decaffeinated coffee has got caffeine in. You know, that's absolutely ridiculous. You know. So moving on from that, there's a few medical conditions that can be caused if you have too much caffeine. Stuff such as high blood pressure, palpitations, heart palpitations. Obviously, your heart is literally pumping because it is literally, your body is literally saying to it, right, okay, we're going to keep going and going and going. And it's making it pump faster and faster. So that could even cause maybe even a heart attack, and that's something you don't really want, not at any age, and especially not with drinking too much caffeine. So essentially, that's what can happen. So if you're drinking about 20 Red Bulls a day, and you're still alive today and you've been doing that for years, in fact, that wouldn't even be a possibility. Because if you're drinking 20 cans of Red Bull a day, you are not going to be here. Simple as that. Because of the amount of caffeine levels. And it can also cause things such as high blood pressure, which is another thing we don't want. There's also other things like liver disease, which is absolutely diabolical. You don't want liver disease either, because that can lead to things such as waking up between 3 to 5 a.m. in the morning because you've got like loads of toxins in your body. Although coffee does have antioxidants in it, filtered coffee does have antioxidants in it. That is sort of a weird cocktail. Obviously, if you have too much, it's gonna hurt you. But if you have an okay amount, it can be good for you. So that's another way to look at it as well. It's a funny story. It's a funny old game. So there's just some of the things that can happen. There are also a lot of side effects as well, such as if you go over the recommended caffeine doses, you get things such as irritability, nervousness, shakiness. You feel really on edge all the time. Headaches. You feel lightheaded quite a lot. Sleepiness, so you feel fatigued, and that leads into adrenal fatigue as well. So adrenal fatigue is basically, it should be a diagram here for adrenal fatigue. So basically, little adrenals are on top of your kidneys, right? So if your adrenals are on top of your kidneys, they also help with cortisol. So if you fatigue your adrenal by basically not getting enough sleep, not getting enough, basically you're like an insomniac. There's too many stress levels because you can't sleep. There's loads of other things that it does, and it's also on my page as well. High cortisol levels. So if you fatigue your adrenal, you can have high cortisol, and high cortisol leads to things such as weight gain. So therefore, it can link to weight gain. It's mad. It is mad how things like that work. But yes, people think, oh well, just because I'm eating fat, I'm going to turn fat. That is somewhat true. However, if you go over your caffeine, you become stressed. If you become stressed, your cortisol levels go up, and therefore you put weight on. So you don't necessarily have to eat loads of fat to put weight on. There's loads of different ways to do it, and one of them being having too much caffeine in your diet. And it can also lead to other things such as chronic fatigue, other symptoms such as you become dependent on it. So literally your body won't function properly without it. And that's when you start actually being caffeine withdrawal, or having caffeine withdrawal symptoms is actual real thing. And people don't really realise that. And that's another tragic story. But yeah, the cortisol, I will be coming back to that. We'll be coming back to that, and adrenal fatigue as well. That was just a little insight to that. But yeah, if we go further down into the notes that I've got written down, because I'm like a brain box at the minute with all this stuff, and basically to prevent a person from like falling asleep, people would have caffeine. So that's essentially what it's for. Yeah, as we've already stated. But if you fatigue, or you have if you have an adrenal burnout, it could cause you to have things such as trouble getting out of bed in the morning without a proper amount of sleep, feeling most energetic around 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and tired again between 9 and 10, and then energized from 12 to 1 o'clock in the morning. So essentially, your body clock is, it's beginning to be irregular, and that's really bad as well if you're not getting enough sleep, because that can cause weight gain as well, because your body's not properly resting. It's always on edge, and then it's just going to burn out. So you're going to have that sort of burnout, and then fatigue as well, because you are not getting sleep. And then also insomnia, which therefore will make you stressed. And stress leads to cortisol levels going high, and there you go. That's how you put weight on. But I will be going in more depth about that too. So yeah, it can also cause things such as cravings for salty or sweet snacks. So if you find yourself craving like loads of, say, crisps, or maybe even loads of sweets, or just sweet food and drink in particular, or salty food. I would say salty drinks, but I don't know any salty drinks. I don't think there is any. But yeah, it can also have memory loss. You get memory loss because of it. The ability to not be able to manage stress as often. Because obviously if you're fatigued quite often, you're not going to be able to do that. You are not going to be able to handle stress as much. If you can't handle stress, cortisol levels go up, and weight becomes an issue. Trouble bouncing back after being sick as well. So if you find yourself being sick quite often, and you're not able to get to work, say like in the time you used to be able to, try looking at that. That could be an issue. That could be a big issue you've got actually in your diet, and that's something that we don't want either. Also, things such as a reduced sex drive as well. Not obviously not feeling in the mood for it as such all the time, that type of thing, which it can affect a lot of people, and it can affect a lot of relationships, etc., etc. You know what I mean? If you've got a reduced sex drive, you're essentially, as a man, you'd feel useless, that type of thing. And also, you feel very sensitive to cold as well. So yeah, there's just some of the things you can have if you've got adrenal fatigue. Now, if we move on to what we're moving on to now, yeah, cortisol and adrenal functions. So now, as I was saying before, if you fatigue your adrenal by not getting enough, say, sleep, you're not getting sleep, you're stressed all the time. They're just some of the things that will cause adrenal burnout or adrenal fatigue, just as a whole. And obviously, if you're fatigued and your adrenal's fatigued, you overwork in it, and therefore your cortisol levels become raised. So if you raise your cortisol levels because of that, you become more stressed, you become more on edge, but also you're tired. So you're fighting sleep at the same time. So it becomes a nasty and a vicious cycle that you don't want. And it's hard to break, because you've basically got to take doses away from yourself in terms of coffee, because caffeine is known as a drug. So the best way to obviously come off, say, like cigarettes or a drug, or even alcoholism, is to minimize the amount you're having per day or per week. So you need to set yourself a goal in order to do that. So you need to cut down gradually. I'm not saying go straight away, no coffee at all, because your body is becoming dependent on it. And because it's dependent on it, therefore, if you do that, you cause even more damage. So you need it to come off very gradually. So I would say give yourself maybe like a 2-week period, maybe even a 3-week period, maybe even go to your doctor if you're unsure. But you need to sort of come off it gradually, because, if you come off it straight away, you're going to land yourself in hospital either way. So you want to do it the right way. And I'd never encourage anyone to just say, right, that's it, you're just going to cut that out straight away, because it does take time to process, especially if you've been that used to it as well. That's not something I would recommend. But yeah, basically it will stop you being able to manage your fats, your proteins and your carbohydrate metabolism to maintain blood glucose. Your blood pressure will be affected. Your central nervous system activation will become non-existent at one point. So what things do we need to look out for if your cortisol levels become too high? So if your cortisol levels are too high, then it can be very unpleasant and a very bad place to be. I've been there before. I've had that high cortisol levels, and it was why I was putting a lot of weight on, because my diet wasn't quite how it should have been. But I will be talking diets maybe in the later future of videos that I make, simply because of the fact I'm still in the process of finding the ideal diet, because I'll be showing some before and active pictures as well when I've finally got it exactly how I want. But yeah, it's coming along quite nice. So what do we look for in this? So there's stuff like muscle weakness. If you feel weak quite a lot with your muscles, that can be because you've got too high cortisol. Rapid weight gain as well, so you're putting loads of weight on, that could be for your high cortisol levels due to stress management, stuff like that. Also, high blood pressure as well. That's something you can't exactly look for, but if you do have like a blood pressure monitor, you could do that as well. Get your pulse, find out where you're at. So 120/80 is what you want to be looking for if that's the case. But if it's over 120/80, then yeah, it's over, and you need to find a way to reduce that. And it could be due to your diet as well. So you might need to look at your diet if that's the case. Rapid mood swings as well is very, very common. So you feel anxious and depressed quite a lot. And that's another thing that I don't really I've had before, a bit of anxiety. Also, if you wake up before your alarm clock on a morning, that's most likely due to either a magnesium deficiency or quite commonly because you have anxiety. And a lot of people have, say, tablets or medication to handle their anxiety issues. But if that's not you, and you don't even know that you've had it before, that could be something that that could be happening, and that's something that we want to look at as well. Slow wound healing as well. That could be another thing, simply because of the fact, if you high cortisol levels, your body's sort of like it doesn't know where it's at or what it's doing, so it's not going to help with processes such as healing, which is quite a big one as well. So if you just like say cut your arm open or something like that, or you split your arm open, you're waiting for it to sort of heal, and it's taking ages and ages and ages, and it's not really like took that long before. That's exactly why. That's exactly why it's doing it for. Or it could be one of the reasons. It could be quite a few. So I'd recommend seeking a GP if you're really, really unsure, and you want to find out more information. This could just bring it to light. And if you'd learned something from this video, or you find something out new about this video, excellent. That's exactly what I want. Give it a like. That's exactly what it's there for. You know what I mean? But yeah, moving forward into the video, you will also find that you've got lack of sleep as well. So poor sleep pattern. This could be due to a lot of other things as well as that, but high cortisol levels is one of the most common reasons why you get a lack of sleep, because obviously it links in with caffeine as well, caffeine abuse. I don't know whether you call it abuse or like just basically abusing it, or whether it's just more of a like just having too high of a dosage. I suppose it is abuse if you're having too much, but these are some of the things that you need to look out for. But if you do have high cortisol levels and you find yourself putting weight on quite fast, and also your diet, look at your diet as well, because them could be alarm bells. So if you do these two, if you do them two things, you should be okay in terms of your diet. Also seek a dietitian if you are literally or really, really unsure, Also, it can lead to it'll make you reach for sweet and high calorie foods. So if you do have high cortisol levels, or you are fatigued, like your adrenals fatigued, them's the type of things. I've mentioned it before, but I'm just recapping that. Also, another thing to look for would be excessive belly fat, because it's not just weight gain, it's belly fat as well. And belly fat is something that you really people do really hate, especially if you're getting it and you don't understand why. That could be why. Okay, So, how do we reduce our cortisol levels? Because if they're really really high, how do we reduce them? So, one of the best reasons that I do like doing videos like this is because it's being able to justify it, but not just justify it. You're being able to say what is good and what's bad. So these are all the bad things, and now we're going to put some good things into perspective. So what are the good things? So if we want to reduce our cortisol levels, one of the best ways to do that would be to say, stick a funny film on. You know, find a friend that's funny, who's going to have a joke with you and have a laugh. Because essentially, if you reduce that, you are reducing your, you're basically reducing your stress levels, because you are laughing and you are engaging more. So yeah, next time you see a funny video, like say Lee Evans or whatever it happens to be, whatever you're into, stick it on, watch it. Whether it's a comedy film, whether it's stand-up comedy, whether it's whatever, or you just got a mate who literally just is funny, you know, do it. That's excellent. That's exactly what you want to be able to do, and that's one way to help reduce it. Also, like I say, taking away your caffeine a little bit. So reducing your dosages. So say if you're having 4 cups a day, reduce it to 3 cups a day, and then eventually just reduce it and reduce it. You know, but obviously take time to do that. And especially if you're having, like, say, energy drinks as well in the day, you know, take one out of your diet, and then go from there and manage it. So every week take one extra out of your diet, you know, or spread it out, that type of thing. You know, be looking at ways to manage things, because if you take too much out too soon, you're back at the beginning. If you take out too little, too length of a time, you might as well have not done it. You know, so it needs to be done in a sort of a firm but fair approach. Yeah. So yeah, another thing that you would want to do is you'd want to look towards maybe getting some chewing gum, for example. Because again, chewing gum, it helps you take your mind off feeling anxious or 101 different things in your mind. And that also links in with something like, say, yoga as well. I'd recommend doing yoga. These are 3 good things that you can do to help reduce your cortisol levels. Also, another one would be to obviously try and get yourself them 6 to 8 hours sleep. 6 to 8 hours sleep is really, really going to help you out, because it's going to make you feel less stressed and in less of an environment where you feel that you are, you feel like you're panicked. Maybe even before you go to bed, maybe don't bother with your phone before you go to bed. Try reading a book, or something like that, or trying to go to bed without having to rely on, say, having your phone. So like, before you go to bed, everyone's texting before they go to bed. Oh, I'm going to bed now, yeah, etc, etc. They're on Facebook, they're sitting in bed for half an hour on Facebook. What you should do to try to help this out is maybe get rid of this for a few nights before you go to bed. So, essentially what we want to do is we want to be turning this thing off, right? Turn it off before you go to bed. Then you don't have to feel the need for it all the time. And that's something that people don't understand. So yeah, there's some good ways to reduce your cortisol levels. And I'll also have me link to my Facebook page in the description. That's got more on caffeine, and also more on cortisol as well. So if you're more of a person that likes it when it's written down, that's brilliant. But I've got some things in this video that will be popping up here and there when I've been talking in this video that will help you sort of get more of a better picture of it, But literally, because it is pictures of what I've been talking about. Okay, so that was everything caffeine today, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I know it's something a little bit different. My postural deviations have finished. So yeah, that was a very good series. I did quite like that as well. Very, very good series. And I hope you have learned a lot from that series. Now we're moving more onto like facts and things like that, and how to improve different things. So it's more of a little bit of a random thing. So you'll have something different on every week until I decide to go for a mini series. So with all that said, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've learned something as well, because caffeine, it's misunderstood for a lot of people. Like, what is caffeine? What does it do? So there are some things that it obviously helps with, and obviously some of the things that it can be bad with as well. Also, if you're pregnant, your GP should have maybe spoke to you about that. I can't stress enough, If you're unsure on anything that I've mentioned in this video, recommend seeking a GP, because obviously they're supposed to be qualified to help you out in all ways, shapes and forms, or even a dietitian, because a dietitian will sort you out like that. Okay, so yeah, with all that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next week.
When you nod your head yes, but you wanna say no, what do you mean? Hey, yeah. When you don't want me to move, but you tell me to go, what do you mean? Oh, what do you mean?